Thanks, Gregor. Hey, Josh. I want to look ahead for starters here. How strongly do you feel this four-game series against Calgary is going to turn into another playoff type series? In other words, how long is it going to take for some dislike to show up?
Hey, Paul. Obviously, when you're playing four games against a team, you're going to make little adjustments. There's going to be some gamesmanship, simply from, playing against the same player every time for four games in a row. That stuff can happen. But I think both teams will be looking to get wins over any of the extra stuff. And, obviously, in our last 15 games or whatever it is that we've played, going back to the bubble and the playoffs, we've played them a lot, so we're pretty familiar with them. I think both teams we focused on trying to get the win, and it's a big series early on in the year for both teams. If one team can come out and get a decisive amount of wins on the other one.
We'll go next to Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Josh, you've been able to play a couple of these mini series, and I'm so far this year, and I'm just curious, is there any patterns that have developed or anything that you've taken out of these little series that you've noticed, whether it's with your play or just in general? I think someone mentioned a week ago was, so key to win that first game. It seems to set the tempo. That's just an example, but what have you seen kind of from these mini series?
Yeah, I think so far in the mini series that we've played, the only team we played 3 games was the Ottawa series. And, I think it's just little adjustments as you go: power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, some different things like that. But I would agree, obviously, getting the first game in the series is always a big one. But at the same time, depends how you look at it. It is the regular season, so although it is a series, it's still, a 56 game season or series, if you will. It's not a 7 game, so it is important to get the first one for that energy level. But I think overall, it's just some of the little adjustments that you have to make on the fly to prepare or try to make a change to catch the other team off guard. And it's sort of what makes the little series fun.
I'll go next to Brian Munns from TSN 1290. Go ahead, Munnsy.
Josh, obviously last night was a tough one for a lot of guys. What's the focal point, or what's the main point of attention on a practice day like today, knowing that you're right back at it with back-to-back games again Monday, Tuesday?
Well, I think obviously not a great feeling leaving the arena last night. Anytime you lose, and it was a tough night for us. So I felt we had a good video session today. Looked at the game and tried to go on the ice and get up to speed. I felt like we were a little bit. Our first period wasn't bad, but we're just a half step off it in a couple areas, and Vancouver played a really sound game. So. The Flames play tough. They play physical. They're hard on the forecheck. A lot of the same things that we saw against Vancouver, and they're skilled throughout their lineup. So we're going to have to be a half step faster. And I thought today in practice, we made a good step forward to preparing for these next couple of games.
Just a couple more. We'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, good morning, Josh. I know it's been said before, but I think a lot of talk has been about handling these bumps in the road and turning the page quickly. You've been able to do that twice already this season. Can you talk a little bit about the mental approach that might be a little bit different this season in handling these kind of scenarios, compared to when it's a little more of a drawn out schedule?
Yeah. Hey, Kelly. I think it's important, obviously, to you can sort of feel upset or frustrated, whatever your emotion is after the game. But the next day when you come to the rink, you have to be looking forward and moving on to the next one. I think to your point, it's just as prevalent or more this year than normal seasons. But even in a normal year, we don't have a ton of 2 or 3 day breaks in between games anyway. So it's pretty similar in that regard. But I definitely think that it's important to have learn from your mistakes, learn from tough games, and move on. And obviously we've done that so far with wins after our losses, and that's an important trait that good teams have. Nobody goes undefeated in an NHL season, so there's times where you have to respond from a tough loss, a night where you didn't play your best, or a night where you played great and just didn't get the win. So I think that's an important trait, like I said, that good teams have, and something that we're trying to establish here as part of our identity.
And last question to Jeff Hamilton from the Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Josh, I just want to ask you about Adam Lowry. Obviously, we know a lot about his defensive game. Obviously, his offensive game has started to flourish here, right now. But I wanted to know about his leadership. Obviously, a former captain and junior, very mature guy, much like yourself. What does he bring leadership-wise to this team?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of a pro and somebody who's extremely professional, I feel like Adam's the guy that he exhibits all of those traits. He has worked extremely hard in his career to get to the point where he's at. I feel like he's taken another step forward again. He looks fast. He looks great, obviously, and his stats are showing that. But even away from that, I think he has the respect of everyone in the locker room for the things he does on the ice that maybe don't get appreciated. Obviously, it's nice to see him getting rewarded on the score sheet, but the little things that everybody in the locker room and the coaching staff sees that makes him makes the other players want to go do the same thing and follow suit with what he's doing. So he's just the consummate professional, and he's continued to improve his game, and he's playing great for us, and it's nice to see him get rewarded. I think that's part of his game that I remember playing against him in junior, and he put up some pretty big numbers. And so I think like I said, it's another evolution in his game, but the stuff he does in the locker room, the way he prepares, his consistency, he's an amazing teammate, and guy that I love having as a teammate in the locker room.
Hey, Adam, I've been thinking about this question and the validity of it, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way, but I look at you as a guy who, you're 27 years old, you've been in the league now for 7 years, you've established yourself as this key defensive guy. I'm curious what your goals are, or whether you would see yourself in a top 6, whether that would be viewed as a promotion to you, or just, for a guy who, has filled the sheet in junior, but has kind of made his